Hey, I'm going to talk to you about the COVID-19 quarter project. These are projects that we will be working on the rest of the quarter. And we will be doing 2 more chapters in this class, chapter 10 and chapter 11, and then the rest of the quarter. So that'll put us right at the start of May. We'll be working on these projects. So you'll have a few weeks there to really dedicate time to them. I want you to start thinking about that and kind of let them evolve. So in Classroom, you'll find this unit, and you'll also have with this little parking lot chunk here where we can add, you guys can feel free to add comments with articles or other comments or questions there. And we can start adding to that also. So I'm going to show you the quarter project file first. You can do any of these projects in partners or as individuals, and you can switch between projects if you would like. And remember, if you do the Billings Science Fair, that counts as one of your projects. So first thing that everybody will do is go ahead and do an elevator pitch, which I'll pop that open in a second. So for this project, I really want you to think about, what do you want the world to know about this disease? What do you know about it from kind of more of a science background? And what do you think the world's getting wrong about it? And so what some of the things I've noticed is people don't understand why we need to be staying home and quarantining. They don't understand how this is very different from the flu and why we're considering this a pandemic and why we're shutting down whole countries. Like, a lot of people don't understand the severity of it. And so if I were to do an elevator pitch, I would do it something like that and really show them, like, this is why we really need to be taking this seriously. And you probably already have ideas like that. So you will complete 5 items on this bingo here. And they don't have to be in a line, so it's not really bingo. They can be, you just have to do one from each column. One column is the elevator pitch. And you can also do them in any order. And the due date is just at the end of the school year. We just need to probably have them wrapped up like around the 15th would be nice, or the 22nd. So somewhere in there, we need to make sure we have them wrapped up so I have quarter grades. And on one of these, one of your 5 projects, I want you to choose one and find a way to share it with the world. So maybe you write an op-ed and you publish it to the Fallon County Times. That would be one option, and you could do that in a partner setting too. Or maybe you publish something on social media. Maybe you make a meme and you put that on social media. Or maybe you share something like a speech or a monologue with your family. So do something that is in some way public that you're sharing out with the world. So that's one requirement. So the first one is the C. That's our first part, and that's the elevator pitch to the world. Everybody will do one of those. So I'll click over, and here is what it looks like. It's the same one that we did for Danes, but I want you to just focus on COVID-19. So what do you think is the problem? What's the world getting wrong? What do they need to know? And then what's your evidence for that? And then what's the solution? Like, do we need to be quarantining? Do we need to be doing something differently? Do we need more testing? Do we need to stop saying this is the flu? Something like that. And then maybe a question. I left that on there, question for the legislator, but that can be maybe a question that you would ask or pose to somebody else. So I just left that on. Then you will do something from this written column, and you get to choose. So maybe you choose to do a research paper or a PowerPoint. You might do a Prezi, and then this is kind of an offline. This next section here is kind of an offline version with the asterisk. So you could do a blog or op-ed, and you can also choose any other written form or presentation. So any form that you choose. The next column is a video. So that's the V. We talked about you could do a vlog, a TED Talk, or maybe a TikTok, something that you're able to share out the information from your research that you learned. So find what medium you want to do to share that information out. And then you could share that one with the world for sure. You could also share like the op-ed or a Prezi with the world. Then you could do, you could also do a PowerPoint with video narration, kind of like I'm doing now, what I do for the lectures. It's really easy. You do it on Zoom. And you could use the same PowerPoint that you did for your second column here, and then just add the video narration, and that would be 2 projects. That's kind of a 2-for-1. You could also record a stop motion video like we did with photosynthesis and respiration, where we like use the clay and the markers, but you could do that with like any household items. Just use your phone, take pictures, and then you could share that out with the world. And you can also do a speech or monologue. If you're doing the offline version, you can just write your speech, and that's fine for that, or any other video or spoken format. And then the next column is graphic or visual, and you can make a poster, maybe use Google Slides to make a poster. I can help you resize it, or you can just make it the size of a slide. You can also make an infographic, and I'll show you an example of those. Those are pretty cool. You could do an informational meme. So it can be funny, but it also has to like send a message, like flatten the curve, stay home, something like that. I'll show you some examples. And then this is a possible offline version that anybody could do. You could do a comic strip. So that's another option, or any other graphic or visual project you can think of. And then the last one is a grab bag. One idea for that is you could do an interview, maybe by phone, and I'll give you some examples of that. You could also conduct a debate or pinwheel with your peers, and make sure you're doing that remotely or with your family. So we could do it on Google Meet. We could do a pinwheel or debate together if you plan one, and then we could even do bigger groups than two. If a bunch of you want to do a pinwheel, we can group that together for sure. You can also compare this epidemic or pandemic to other ones, like maybe Spanish flu or HIV, and you get to decide how you want to present that information if you choose to do that one. If you want to write it, you can write it. If you want to just get on Google Meet and explain it to me, explain what you found out, you can do it that way. And then another one, this is kind of an offline version. You can write a letter to your future self or to your grandchildren and tell them what's going on in this time, or any other project you choose. And if you're doing a project in another class and it kind of aligns with one of these, then you can do it in both classes. That would be great. So here's some more information down below here about the projects. For the C, that's your elevator pitch to the world. Everybody does that. You can type it straight into Google Classroom, into that document, and then just turn it in. So that one's easy. For this one, you can do a research paper. Try to use at least 3 references and try to use Google Scholar so you get actual studies. And if you need any kind of a template, outline, guidance, anything that I can do to facilitate that, let me know. You can also do a PowerPoint, try to do 3 references also. A Prezi, same thing, try to get at least three references. And then you can also do a blog or op-ed. Those are usually like 200 to 750 words, somewhere in there. The writing can be kind of informal, and I can show you a couple that I've written if you need help with that. And it's just a message. What do you want to tell the world? It has to be like catchy. I've heard them say like it's the amount of text that you could read between bus stops. So in a couple of minutes, people should be able to read it. The next one is a vlog. And you guys know more about what a vlog is than I do apparently. So probably less than 5 minutes. And it needs to send the message of what point you're trying to get across about this disease and how we can stay safe. And you can also do a PowerPoint with video narration. So take your PowerPoint from the other column and then just add the video narration. I would recommend using Zoom for this. That's what I'm using right now. So I can help you with that if you need to use that. And then you can also do a speech or monologue. It can be like a TED Talk. So can the vlog, or it can be other formats. You can also do a TikTok. But you want to get to the point and send a message. And if you can't record it, just write it or type it. And then we can also do a stop motion video. We did this with markers and clay. You can use whatever you want. Some examples might be like you could explain how the virus infects the cell or how exponential growth works. And then for the I column, you can make a poster using Google Slides. You can do an infographic. Those are like a special type of poster where they have like a bunch of little facts on it, but they're displayed in a really pretty way that are easy to look at and understand. And so this picture here, this example is an infographic about infographics, which I thought was funny. So you can see it has like graphs and the stats really big, like blown up 90%. So you could do a pretty powerful infographic that could be really useful if you share that out with the world about what we really need to know, maybe comparing the flu and COVID-19 to show that this is a really big deal and it's not just the flu. You can also do an informational meme. And in this meme, it can be funny, but it also needs to send a message. So here's some examples of my favorite ones. This one's really great. Hey guys, I'm having a tough time deciding who to believe. On the one hand, the most prestigious doctors in the world are saying that COVID-19 is something to take very seriously. But at the same time, this guy went to high school with sees through the media and says otherwise. Help. So I liked that one. That would be a great one, but you need to make your own. You can't be one that exists, and I can easily search for them. And then this one's great. You've probably seen that one. And then this one's really good too, this tree one. It sends a really good message. So it's showing like how the disease can be transmitted. And then like this person worked from home, this person didn't go to a barbecue, and you can see how we can prevent a lot of transmissions from that and slow it down. And then you can also do a comic strip, at least do 6 boxes, and you can do this by hand on paper. Okay. And then the D, here's some ideas for the interview. If you want to do one of these, you could interview somebody who lived through the Great Depression and compare it to what's happening now, maybe some tips. Make sure you do it on the phone. You could interview a World War II survivor and compare and contrast what's going on now to what happened to them. You could also interview our county commissioners, public health officers, or directors. Amelia, you could interview your mom, and or some other leader in our county, and ask them how they're making their decisions and things like that. It's a good idea to have your questions written out ahead of time for these, so you know what you're going to talk about. And then to share this out with me, you can record it, but make sure you tell them, because in Montana it's illegal to record something that they didn't consent to. Or you can write about it, just like write a reflection about it. There's lots of ways you can do it. You could do it on a Google Meet also, like this. If you do Zoom with them, you can record it. If you do a Google Meet, I don't know how to record it, so I don't think you can. And then you could facilitate a debate or pinwheel. Make sure you prepare the questions ahead of time and give people time to think. You could also compare diseases. So there's some examples, and use any format you want to give me that information and show your learning. So if you want to write a paper, you can do that. If you want to just get on Google Meet and explain to me what you learned, you can do that too. And then finally, a letter is another example, and that can be handwritten if you're offline. And so those are the projects. Remember that you only need to do 1 per column, and 1 of the 5 total you're going to share out to the world. So probably not your elevator pitch unless you found a way to do that. So think about which one do you want to share to the world to really make an impact. And you can start working on these anytime, and they can be done in any order, and you can do some in partners and some individual. Just kind of let me know what you're planning. So also let me know if you have any questions.